Hi, I'm Albert. And these are vlogs about nothing. And so let's talk about thrift stores. And so, do you guys go to thrift stores? Anybody in the comments down below? You guys have a favorite thrift store? I know that here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I have a handful of my own favorite thrift stores that I frequent. I am lucky enough to live literally within walking distance to one of them, so I think that's super cool. But my experience with thrift stores doesn't start until the age of 18. And if I'm 36, I guess then that means half my life has been learning about thrift stores. And so um, I really like thrift stores in Arizona. They're very nice. Goodwill has a really good program going on down there. There's so many people and they move so much stuff. It's incredible. But thrift stores are good because they help people save money. And so you can imagine, if you've seen any of our other talks, that raising a family of four can cost you upwards of 200 grand. And so if you're looking to save a few dollars and or just be sensible when it comes to your clothing and or just other regular everyday purchases, then I definitely would argue that the thrift store is the way to go. Now, again, to me, there's a big difference between a thrift store and, let's say, a Burlington Coat Factory or a Ross or a Marshalls, in that, or a DD's Discounts, in that a large portion of these companies basically do what people like that aren't corporations do in terms of sourcing product at a super discounted price and then putting up the price and selling it in a store. The only difference, I think, is that I don't think third party consignment stores are needed like that. Like, in terms of, it does nobody any good to go buy a $80 discounted polo shirt from Burlington when the reason that it's discounted to begin with is because it was rejected by the manufacturer. Okay, so there's a distinct difference when it comes to the secondhand market and the secondhand market in terms of secondhand being items that literally weren't good enough to be put where they were supposed to be put. And whereas thrift stores are going to be a repository of places where you can go and donate all of your goods, and quite often that's going to be the better bet for somebody that's maybe raising a family of four. I know that I'm not raising a family of four, and I still try to be sensible in that I like to save money. And as much as sometimes it's different, I guess, to go into a new clothing store. And I guess that's the difference too, is while I'm willing to spend whatever I need to spend in a new clothing store, right? If I'm not going to be buying it there, then I'm going to be buying it at a thrift store. There's no in between, right? And so the t-shirt I have on is from the thrift store. It cost me like $3. It's worth like 30 to 40 on eBay. It's a single stitch 1993 flower shirt. It's not all the way around though. See, so I was kind of disappointed that the apron thing didn't go all the way around. And yes, I'm very proud of my flower shirt. I really like it. I've had it for a long time. And so thrift stores are good because you can save money. And if you're raising a family, and or if you're single, or if you're living with a roommate, or whatever the situation is, there's nothing wrong with saving money. I guess unless you're making over that 200K and you're able to raise that family of four, and in which case I applaud you, and I'm very I'm super happy for you. But you should still think about saving some money and shopping at thrift stores. Thrift stores are also a really cool place to find old vinyl records, VHS tapes. You can find old toys. You can find good quality, like linen for your bathroom. And again, oftentimes you'll hear people, the argument is like they don't want to go into thrift stores because it's gross and people are gross and the clothing is used and stuff. Trust me, I've heard these all around the board. But I got to tell you, I believe in washing clothes. I believe in not getting certain items from the thrift store. And even if I did get like a certain item or whatever, like let's say a piece of underwear or whatever, like, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I'm really convinced that if I just took it home and washed it, it'd be all right. And so, yeah, thrift stores are a good thing. They're a good thing for the community. Typically, They're run by nonprofits who are able to pay the bills on a large warehouse and then supplement the daily activities that need to be performed through various forms of labor. It could be volunteer, it could be rehabilitation, it could be paid. Any number of these different kinds of roles play an integral part in the running of thrift stores. And so I also would argue that thrift stores are needed because then otherwise there would be a ton of waste. Literally, there'd be a ton of waste. And as cool as some of us eBay and third party sellers think we are in terms of trying to allocate that waste to go to somewhere else, it's quite difficult when the normal, just average everyday person doesn't have a place to give those items to, because otherwise they probably would just end up in the trash, right? And so that's my talk on thrift stores. If you guys literally have never been in a thrift store, I make it, sort of a challenge to go check one out. And while I admit that sometimes they're not always the brightest of places in terms of like, it's not going to be like you're walking into a brand new Century 21 in New York City, in terms of the lighting and all of the cool decorations and stuff like that. Although that's even a stretch because I remember visiting thrift stores in Denver that were really cool and that were very nice and arguably did look just like a Ross or a Marshalls or something. And so, yeah, we're talking about thrift stores. That's what we did.